I just made my AI talk to another company's AI in the browser and get me my refund back. Have you ever been annoyed by talking to a support chat on a specific website? Or going and trying to find some nitty-gritty details within the policy or something hidden in the settings? And have you done any work in the browser that you wish sometimes somebody could do this boring stuff for you? Then this video is for you. Here I'm going to break down how to make AI work in your browser and do all of the boring stuff that you don't want to do for you. Most people imagine AI as a chatbot that you talk to and they don't even know that you can use it in the browser. It can click for you, it can do all of the things that you can do. To be honest, I've been using it for the past half a year and I cannot imagine my life without it now. I'll show you a handful of use cases. That refund use case, it's just one. There's many more. AI getting all of the products in your grocery cart, or AI helping you pick a product among all of the others that you don't really know much about. An invoice or a refund policy buried somewhere deep within a website. Have you faced that before? I did. Or scraping the info about the latest YC Combinator badge. All of the companies analyzing what they're investing to understand the latest trends in AI, instead of going one by one and trying to read all about them. As well as much more, and I'll show you all of this in a second. So if you're a consultant, a founder, or anybody else using browser professionally in their work, which is most people by now, or you're using it for your personal needs, there's a lot of things that you can automate with AI. So I'm going to show you all the magic, how it works, how to set it up, what it's good for and what it's not good for. Because recently I talked to a friend and showed him that you can use AI in the browser and it was like, whoa, what? You can do that? Yeah. AI can work for you in the browser, not just being a chatbot. Alright, so here's the thing. The simplest way I can put it, it's a coworker that can see your whole screen in the browser and can do the same things as you. It can click, it can type, it can navigate. Basically like a coworker with hands, which most people have coworkers with hands, I guess. And most people don't even know that it already can do that. So here's how the video is built. First part, we'll go over how it runs your life, the errands, the admin, the stuff you're doing. Second part, how it runs your work. What can you use it for real data, kind of things you could do in a team. And at the bottom, you'll see what it cannot do, so that you don't think I'm lying. So some stuff like auto-canceling a subscription, doing a payment, or purchasing something, it automatically stops on purpose, which I think is good. Now, the first question everybody asks is, what type of agents in the browser are there? So let's break it down. It really depends on what you already use, what you're used to. So typically, I would call out 4, but I'm sure there are more that you guys might comment on in the section below. Comet from Perplexity has been out for about more than half a year, or even more depending on when you got access to it if you haven't. It's pretty useful. It's a separate Chrome-based browser with an agent baked in that can do stuff for you. I've been using it in the beginning. I kind of got hooked to the Comet browser itself instead of Chrome. There are pros and cons to that. Second one is from ChatGPT. It's really tied to the Atlas browser. So again, the same thing. You would have to migrate to this browser to start using it. First time I tried this browser when it just came out was much worse than Chrome. I'm sure it improved by now, but I don't know how many people use it. So if you're willing to try out and you really like ChatGPT, go for it. Next to come as extensions. So Gemini for Chrome. Gemini can use your browser to do the same things the other agents can do, but as a browser extension. It's called Gemini in Chrome. It's pretty useful. It's easy to access. So if you already have a subscription to Gemini, definitely worth trying this out first. And the last one I'm using is Claude for Chrome, which has already been out for quite some time as an extension. So if you have a Claude subscription, you can use that. Honestly, I use it a bit more just because I trust Claude a bit more. And also if I need to run some script in the browser for more advanced stuff, which you'll see is not that technical, but very useful, you can use that as well. So the setup is pretty simple. You go to Chrome, you add the extension to it, keep your Chrome and kind of adding an agent. The sidebar just shows up there. You can open it up, you need to log in, and you're done. So you don't need to get a new browser, you don't need to code, nothing to learn. So the first thing to know is whenever you're working with it, it will work on a specific tab. You see, it creates tab groups. So tab groups means if I want to add a specific new tab into this conversation context, I will just have to drag it into the group and it will work on this tab and be able to access this tab as well. So that's great because by default, it doesn't see all of the tabs that you have. So it's a security thing. You also have an ability to attach screenshots. You have two modes here: ask before acting and act without asking. So of course, typically I go YOLO, but what I would say is, so whenever looking at these two options, if you have a specific website that you trust, an Amazon website or anything else like this that you know is safe, you can allow it to act without asking. And still, even with that, so even then, it will not do things like entering your password or credit card details or paying for something. It will stop. You also have an ability to teach Claude. This is if you're doing something repetitive, you can press this button and show Claude how to do this process so that it can repeat it in the future. The other important thing to note is it doesn't save your conversations. So whenever you open a conversation with it, it will have it within the context of this conversation. And if you close it, it will be gone. So be mindful of that as well. You can select a model. I would just use Opus 4.8 if you have enough capacity in your subscription for it. But if it's a very long running task, it can use a lot of your usage. All right, so let's try out the first use case. Let's say I'm on Amazon grocery page and I have a list of things that I want to buy, but I don't have the time to go and pick all of them and add all of them up. I can open up Claude. I can type in, hey, I am having a party. So I can copy all of my grocery list. So when you send it, sometimes it creates a plan when it's a complex task. Sometimes it's a pretty simple task like this one, and it will just go and start doing it. So it's a pretty neat UI. You see, you can stop Claude if you want, but you also have it capturing each page. This is how it works. It goes into a page, takes a screenshot, and based on the location of the pixels on the screenshot, it uses a tool to click, scroll, or do anything. So if it found a specific item, it will add it to your grocery cart. Pretty simple thing to do, but it's very useful. It can save you 10 or 15 minutes on doing some manual tasks. And I would say typically it's really worth it because you have a lot of these tasks and you can just open a separate sidebar, put it to work, and continue doing whatever else you want. And for me, it saves a lot of real time. All right, second use case that I really like is trying to figure out between different products which one is good and which one isn't. So for example, recently I was trying to pick a toothpaste for my dog. I have no idea what are the toothpastes for dogs, what they should have, how to pick one. So I just go to the Amazon page for toothpaste for dogs and ask Claude to do it. So let's try it out. I'm just gonna say, hey Claude, I am trying to pick a toothpaste for my dog. Help me figure out which one is best. So I send this message, and instead of me having to go into each specific brand, trying to figure out what the difference is, what the price points are, and what are the best ones, it can read the whole page, even without having to scroll through it, and analyze it and give you a good option. So now if you want a more detailed analysis, what you could do is you could type something like this, but also ask it to go in each page of each toothpaste and read the details before answering to have a good analysis. Of course, this means it will take longer, but again, very useful if you want to compare some things, not just based on the high-level description that you see here, but going and analyzing each specific product separately. So there's lots of use cases like this that you can automate without having you doing all of these things. Another thing that you will find sometimes, and here's an example that I wanted to show you, is that it cannot access certain pages. It really depends on the AI. So Claude sometimes cannot access it, but if I open Perplexity here, somehow it can access it. So certain pages block AI agents, but somehow they detect some, but don't detect the others. So one of the other awesome use cases in making AI go into a specific website and find an invoice or find any specific refund policy that it's hard to find for you, because I'm really annoyed when I have to go into the docs of a certain SaaS platform or anything else and have to figure things out. Or maybe on Amazon, you want to figure out, does this provider offer 30-day returns? And what are the terms of that? Instead of having to go and read all of that yourself, you can just ask Claude in the Chrome to go there, read all of that, and create a kind of a TLDR for you back in the chat. All right, I'm sure you also had the same thing happen where you had a specific refund or anything you wanted to get from a chat window, from a support where you have to type it in, be it an AI chatbot or a human chat window. And first of all, it takes a long time for you to wait to get them to reply, for you to explain everything to them. This is the use case that I found extremely useful for Claude in Chrome. You can just ask Claude in Chrome to go and start talking to their support representative, be it an AI agent or somebody else, and continue talking to them, explaining them the issue, trying to convince them until you get that refund. I had that happen with Canva here. They charged me even though I thought I canceled the subscription. So my immediate instinct, oh man, I guess I'm gonna have to stick with another month of Canva, or I'm gonna go and have to spend 10 minutes now talking to this AI chatbot trying to convince it to give me a refund. So that's the amazing use case that I've found. Instead of spending my time talking to their support chat, make Claude and Chrome talk to their support chat and convince Claude and Chrome to talk to them until they get me my money back. So I'm gonna break it down for you. For this specific video, I've resubscribed to Canva to show you how it looks like. So as you can see, they have the support chat in the bottom right, as most of these SaaS companies do. And I can talk to this agent asking me to get a refund. Again, I'm lazy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend time sitting here and talking to it. So I'm going to open Claude and I'm going to say, and again, as I'm lazy, I'm going to dictate for it. Hey Claude, I just subscribed to Canva and I would like to cancel my subscription. So please talk to the AI support system until you get me a refund back. This is a simplified version. Sometimes you need to explain a few more details about the system, or sometimes they don't give you back the refund just as is. You have to add more details into the message before sending it over. But in this case, let's start simple. As you can see, open the chat bot. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, it sent in the first question. So that's the fun part. They have this system where they have agents that reply to you to save money on people talking to you directly. So you might as well use your agent to talk to their agent and convince it to cancel your subscription for you. This is a simple use case. Instead of kind of me going into the settings or talking to them. Here, for example, it's saying that I need to go to the settings. So theoretically, I could just ask Claude to go to the settings and cancel it. And right before cancel, it typically would stop and say, hey, you should do it yourself. Just click the button. So lots of use cases. Try it out. It's really convenient. I almost never talk to support chats anymore because I can make Claude do it for me. So yeah, again, that's one of the use cases of the things you can do. So let's continue to the next part of the video. Okay, now the interesting one. Let's frame it as if I were on a real engagement on a client. Say I need to understand the market, every company in YC Combinator latest batch. Call it around 200 companies. Each one with a name, description, stage, and other info that I need to process. And doing it by hand is a genuinely miserable afternoon. And most people would do it by hand. You would just scroll through each one. As you can see, it's 197 companies. Each one has some high-level info, and then you would have to go into each one, click on it to try to analyze it in detail. But there's already some useful info. As you can see, there's a name, high-level description, there's an industry or a few, and I'm sure there's more info, they're just not showing it here. Going into each one by hand would have taken me a long time. So that's what I would do. I would open up Claude in Chrome and I would ask it, hey Claude, can you go and process the spring 2026 companies, all 197 of them, collect them into a CSV where each row is going to be a company, and collect as much data as possible for each company as a column. And then output the CSV for me to download. Then I would just send it and wait for it to go and do its magic. The way that it works, it's public data that's coming in, and this page received this data and displays it for us. So there is a way to get all of this data and save it properly. If I wanted to do it manually, could also do it either by hand to go into the network requests to see the data come in. But Claude or any other AI in the browser can do it for us. So let's look at the magic on how it happens. I'm gonna sip my water while I'm waiting. Okay, so the download is complete. It shows all of the data that downloaded per specific company. So let's open this up and see what it did. Okay, and here's the data. Let's check if it's 197. Yes, so it got all of the companies. Now, each company, if we look at this, has names, one-liner, long description, has a website link, profile to the YC Combinator, has some status and stage, team size, locations, regions, industries and sub-industries. So much data that you would never even get from just reading this page, and using AI to get it is so much more efficient. So if I wanted now to give this data to Claude and ask it to analyze it, let's see what it does. All right, the request can be pretty simple. You can just write in something like this. You can add more details for specific analysis. You can also ask it to make it into a presentation. But for now, I could do it like this so that it at least gives me an analysis for it. Or actually, how about this? I'm gonna ask it to create a quick slide deck as well. All right, let's send it. All right, that was pretty quick, probably took about 4 or 5 minutes. So let's take a look at the deck that it has created. This is an AI agent badge, no wonder. Wearing a B2B suit. Phone numbers for AI agents, liability insurance. You've got the industry mix. A lot of B2B. Almost everyone is an AI company now. Again, makes sense. Some recurring themes that you can find. Medium team size. How many are already hiring? How many are the US presence focused? Largest team. So this is amazing. This took me with AI probably about 10 or 15 minutes from the time that I went into the YC page and asked Claude and Chrome to get the data to the moment where I got this deck. If I wanted to do it by hand, let's be honest, it would have taken anybody at least 3 to 4 hours to process all of that, to think through, to think about the presentation, what slides to put, and get it done. This saves you lots of time and also adds a lot of value for you to work on other valuable things in the meantime. Getting data from the internet is an amazing use case that you can be using yourself using AI in the browser. So I'm sure you will find more use cases like this in your work. You just have to watch out for them. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to talk about is security. Everybody's concerned about, can it do something malicious for me? And let me be clear. There are quite a lot of safety mechanisms that will prevent it from doing something like this. So first of all, it can never type your passwords. It cannot access your passwords. So whenever it faces an issue where it has to input a password, it will say, hey, I don't have passwords, I can't log in, can you do it for me? Second, it doesn't roam any random website. It can open a new website link, but when it goes there, if it's a new website, every new action by default is going to have to be confirmed by you, and it will ask you, should you allow this action on this website, or do you allow all actions on this website? Typically for the websites that I know and I trust, like Amazon or something like this, or YC Combinator here, I would just allow every action right away. For websites that I don't trust, I would have to approve every action just to be safe. And if you want to be even more safe, you can just create a new Chrome profile that doesn't have any of your information saved. No passwords, no credit card data, nothing. And there you can launch your agent and be much more comfortable with running it. So if it was useful for you, Please subscribe, I'll be making more videos like this. I'll be focusing on real-world AI applications, how you can use AI to improve your productivity, to improve the quality of your work, to implement AI in your business. Stay tuned and you'll see more videos like this. But in the meantime, what I leave you with is to try out to install an agent in browser and start using it for certain things like your personal tasks, your professional tasks, and you will see how after a while, if there's a specific task that you need to do in the browser that you don't want to do, you immediately hand it off to an AI agent. It can do it in parallel while you are working on something else. And this becomes a habit. And that's what I want you to come to, where when you know what you can or cannot give to AI, you become much more AI native and much more efficient with AI. But if you have any great use cases that you use AI for in the browser that I haven't mentioned, comment them below and I'll try them out as well. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.